I find today's readings really, really interesting for us to listen to and to bring some great teaching out of as well. I remember once hearing from a Protestant friend of mine that we as Catholics shouldn't have feasts and solemnities because here in the book of Amos it says that the Lord hates feasts and solemnities. The Lord actually doesn't hate feasts and solemnities. He hated their feasts and solemnities, the feasts and solemnities of the people of Israel. The question is, why did he hate those solemnities? If we remember what we were talking about yesterday, the people, or the day before even, the people of Israel, the northern kingdom, they had great wealth. They had this wonderful, wonderful temple worship, very opulent, but they oppressed the poor. There was no justice. Might was right, if you know that saying, and that's the way they lived. So there was no justice, no integrity, as we hear in the readings today. And so it was an outward show of faith. It looked good from the outside, but inside it was dead. It was rotten. It was impure, unclean. And so that is why the Lord hated their feasts. He loves us. And, feasts and stuff, fine. But as long as the outward action, the outward action actually comes from something inside. Anyway, so where we're going to take this with the gospel. In the gospel, we have demoniacs. What are demoniacs? Demoniacs are human beings, people like us, who look like us, except inside they're possessed by demons. Who are, if God is holy, and God is holy, they are unholy. As God is pure, they are completely impure, corrupt. As God is clean, they are unclean, the extreme of unclean. And so we have these people who look like ordinary human beings, but inside it's dead, it's demon, the demoniacs. And so Jesus comes, he who is holy, he who is light, steps into this darkness where the demoniacs are, who are living, funnily enough, amongst the graves, amongst the dead. And his light drives out the darkness. He who is pure drives out what is impure. What I find interesting is Jesus is going to this town of, I think it's pronounced Gadara, in the Gadarenes. He's going to Gadara, and Gadara is a pagan town, a pagan city. And so this is a place where they worship other gods, not the Lord. That's why they have pigs, because they don't mind things that the Jews would consider unclean. And Jesus is making his way towards this town, towards this city that is full of paganism. He's bringing his light into that darkness. He's bringing his holiness into that place which is unholy. And as he approaches it, darkness scatters before him. The demons flee. They flee into the pigs, which are unclean animals as far as the Jews are concerned. And the pigs run and die in the water. What is the response of the people of that city? And I've got to remind you, when we're talking about cities in the Old Testament and cities in the Scripture, usually we can usually when we're talking about cities in Scripture, we can identify that with ourselves. So Gadara is you and I. Israel is you and I. Jerusalem is you and I. And how they react to the Lord is how you and I react to the Lord. Is our celebration of our festivals and solemnities empty? Is it just show and we're living lives of injustice and we lack integrity. Jesus is approaching this town, this pagan town, and their response to seeing Jesus, the light approaching, is to stop him. We do not want the light here. We do not want you here. They've just lost their pigs, probably lost a lot of money, and maybe they're afraid of losing more. They've lost those things which are unclean. The demons have left. The pigs which are unclean have left, because he who is clean has approached them. But they want to hold on to what is unclean. They do not want to let go. Jesus, by his power, was able to cast out the demons. But he couldn't force himself on the people, and he would not and does not force himself on us. And so when they said, "Please go away," he left. He left them to embrace those things which are unclean. Why were there demoniacs there? Why were there people possessed with evil? Because they desired evil. They wanted what was unclean. They embraced it into their lives. No wonder, the more they embraced it, the more they came. I was just heard about a movie, and maybe you've seen this movie, Parasites. Did you see the movie Parasites? I haven't seen it. I had to be told about it. But my understanding is they invited somebody to come and work for them. And this person was a liar and a bit of a cheat, and he invited more people of his own type to come in. And eventually they took over the household and killed the owner. Does that remind you of anything? Isn't that not what possession is? When we invite the liar and the thief into our homes, and he doesn't come by himself, he brings his friends, and they come in more and more gradually, take over, and kill us. What is our response? In the Old Testament, the prophet says, "Seek good and not evil. Hate evil, love good, maintain justice." So for us, let us invite Jesus into our city, into our home. He's not going to take over and kill us. He will bring us the fullness of life. Let's not hold on to the money or to the pigs. Let go of your pigs.